Hey there, Dance Moms fans. Whoo! Here we are, the end of the season. We are wrapping it up with the last few episodes leading up to Nationals. Gonna go over the dances and the mama drama and all of the usual. Stay tuned.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Here we are. We did it. You and I, here we are. We did it. Here we are. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for staying with me through this season 8. We've had 16 episodes. Oh boy, some ups and downs, members coming and going of these new cast members. Ooh, what a roller coaster ride. So let's go through the final couple episodes at this point, since they Lifetime doubled up on us these last 2 weeks here. Plus, since we had Giannina in the studio 2 weeks ago, we got behind in episodes. So let's play a little bit of catch up here. So we're gonna talk about episode 14, the return of Studio 19. This was a very dramatic episode, of course. And I say that with a grain of salt because you guys know me. I do not like the fabricated mama drama, right? Like, I know, we know that there is a lot, the show's called Dance Moms. We've known from the beginning this show focuses on the moms and the attitudes and the fights and the backstage clawing and whatnot. But sometimes, friends, we get these episodes where I'm just not buying it. And I understand that Michelle has been sort of a match in the gas tank from the beginning. But, the way that they are just piling on her over the gifts that Studio 19 are sending her, it's not her fault. I mean, what could she have possibly done? And the amount of escalation for another studio sends this mom a basket, and I think a rational human being would say, what's going on there? Maybe she's courting another studio. That doesn't seem right to me. But instead, of course, we've got hair flying, we've got fingers pointing, and we've got name calling before anybody even says, hey, Michelle, what's this about? So the escalation, I'm not buying it. It just seems a little too produced, and it doesn't make sense to me, because even in the world of reality television, to get angry at a fruit basket is insane. That is why, I'm not loving this season as much as previous seasons because of those reasons. Like, when we have the insane fights over absolutely nothing, it's really hard for me to get behind anybody, Michelle or any of the other moms. I can't do it. I can't suspend my disbelief to believe that they're getting that heated over this dance studio that we have never been introduced to before until these last couple episodes. Like, we've had seasons when they're competing against Candy Apples, and obviously, talking about the feud between Kathy from Candy Apples and Abby, and we've mentioned a couple other studios here and there when they've danced against, like, Kalani's studio in Arizona and stuff like that. We've had them compete against an ALDC dancer's former studio before. This is not new. So that is why this seems so contrived, that they're so angry at Studio 19. Why is this an issue now? And it's never been an issue before when they've competed against a studio that was somebody's former studio. Anyway, well, Tammy from Studio 19, she was a delight and a half, right? With all of that, the shenanigans that she's bringing to the table. So let's talk about the dances from this episode, because obviously that's what's important to me. So of course we've got Giannina had a lyrical dance called Crossroads. Sarah had a beautiful, also a very like dramatic dance, and then the group dance of this one, of course, was the Frug, the Fosse number. I think this one is a fan favorite, right? An audience favorite. From the beginning, they say what a difficult thing it is to do Fosse because it looks very easy. It is not as easy as it looks because it's very tiny, precise movements. And I loved that like lean back walk through the whole dance. Ooh, this dance was good. Really enjoyed that. So let's talk about they did not do a pyramid because Abby was still gone from checking on her makeup. She was still with her hair and makeup stylist at that point. There was no pyramid that episode, so we'll just talk about the dances. And so we've got Giannina's dance. She got 7th place. And Giannina has never gotten 7th place her entire dance career. I don't understand why. For those of you who might be more familiar with like being present at these dance competitions, like why in this season are the soloists getting such low ranks that the Abby Lee Miller Dance Studio has never gotten before? I don't understand that. That being said, this dance that Giannina did this week, Crossroads, it was beautiful. She looked very pretty. It was very technically clean, but it was kind of boring, in my opinion. Sarah's dance, I thought, was a little bit more. It had the music and it was a little bit more dramatic. It was also a very like just beautiful dance. She looked great. Very, very technically had a high technical difficulty. Sarah got 9th. So that's pretty crazy. We are not used to seeing that with the ALDC. And then, of course, the group dance gets 1st place for the Fosse number. So they're doing something right, but I just don't understand why these soloists are placing low, and I don't think they understand either. But that Fosse number really was something else. I think that's probably one of my favorite dances, group dances of the entire season. That Fosse number. Let's think back real quick. I think the Fosse number could possibly be one of my favorite dances through the whole season. So then, let's see, at the end of the episode, so Abby, at one point, because Studio 19 keeps confronting the ALDC, like in the hallway, of the competition. And, so at one point, I guess the dance, Tammy's son kind of stood in front of Abby, and she like scoots past him on the scooter, clips him a little bit. And so then at the end of the episode, we see Tammy going into the ALDC's dressing room, and she's fired up and ready to point her finger. And so, of course, what Abby's MO is to yell assault and probably, like file. She loves her police reports. We're not there yet, but we know where Abby tends to go with this kind of thing. So this competition was in Woodbridge, Virginia. So I would guess that would have been an easier competition for them, but it wasn't, with the low solo placements. But at least they got 1st. Beautiful Fosse dance. I think that was the most important thing that we got out of this episode, the return of Studio 19. So let's move on to episode 15, the Rise from the Ashes. Here we are 1 week away from Nationals, right? Again, like, it is exciting that they are so excited about Nationals. Like I said in the last couple episodes, like, as they've been building up this season to the Nationals, it just reminds me of like the OG days of Dance Moms, when that's how every season ended, with the big Nationals competition, and who's going to get solos at Nationals. And that was so much part of the season, and it's been a couple seasons since we've seen that. So I'm glad that they've brought back the, gearing up for nationals as part of this season's plot line. So now that we are one week away from nationals, everybody's getting very excited, very tense. So there is a pyramid for this episode, but of course, the drama of the previous episode, the Studio 19 drama, Michelle can't take it anymore, and she and Sarah leave. And I don't blame her. This episode starts out with Abby talking at the beginning, and she's just like, I knew Michelle was cuckoo from the beginning. She wants her kid to dance, and she decides to take her out cuckoo. And it's like, no, when somebody's screaming at you for the most innocuous, mild thing, I don't think it's unreasonable that she'd be like, yeah, I got to get out of here. I can't stand this for my own mental health. It is too bad that Sarah had to duck out for that. But so then, of course, they do the pyramid, and bottom of the pyramid we have Hannah, Sarah, which of course is Hannah's mom needs to make a point to reverse Hannah and Sarah since she just left. Everybody's replaceable, sure. Gia and Presley. That's who's at the bottom. Then we've got Paris and Brady on the second level. Good for Paris. I'm loving Paris. I'm so glad she's here. I'm so glad she's part of the team. If we're coming back for a next season, I hope we see Paris. Her mom seems pretty cool. I'm you guys, I always say it. I don't need the mama drama. So I'm rooting for whatever mom is pretty chill. That's why I was into Ashley in the beginning of this season, but she kind of came out swinging as the episodes went on. But good for Paris. I'm excited for her for doing so well. And then at the top of the pyramid, of course, is Miss Lily. So in this week out from nationals, Abby hands out these solos, and she gives a solo to Brady. And the solo is called Eyes on Me. And Abby had been wanting to give somebody a solo where they are blindfolded. And so it's finally happened. Abby decides that Brady is the dancer that can pull off a blindfolded routine. If you ask me, would it be harder to dance blindfolded, or would it be harder to dance? Remember when Lily danced in the straitjacket? I think that would, without dancing with your arms, I bet that would be more difficult of a dance than being blindfolded. I think not having your arms would be a little bit harder. And then, of course, we've got Presley gets the flower child dance. When she announced this at the beginning of the episode, I was very excited because this is an era that I enjoy, especially right now, and I think Presley would be the perfect dancer for it. I do love how Presley's sort of been the dark horse that's come from behind. Presley got a jacket. She's an official member of the team, so good for her. I wouldn't have said in the first half of this season that Presley would have been one of Abby's favorites, but that's what happened. So Presley gets the flower child dance. And then, of course, the group number is the Rise from the Ashes dance, which they decide they are going to dance in actual ashes. And the mothers are concerned that maybe that's going to be a little bit dangerous, just like the dancing in the water was. I don't know if I think these are worth it. Those props, like the water dance, I didn't feel was necessarily worth it, especially because with the little, what would you call it? Not buckets, but like the little squares where the water was kept for each of the dancers. I felt that those were so distracting. It wasn't really worth the effect of the water coming up. And I do kind of feel the same thing with the ashes. I don't know if it gave the effect that Abby initially was going for, but I didn't really think that it was necessarily worth the use of the ashes. But beautiful dance. And so with this one, we've got the competition is in Pittsburgh, so they're just home. They are going against their local studios, so they need to. At this point, the kids are trying to, really vie for those national spots. Hannah is very upset that she, Abby basically said, like, you're not getting a solo, and Hannah has gotten a lot of solos this year, so I understand that she's upset that, Abby has ruled her out for nationals. All of the kids can't have solos, but, Hannah has had quite a few solos, so I don't feel too bad that she is not getting one at nationals. And also, I do love that if I were going to give a prize for most improved for this season, I think that prize would go to Hannah, because she has come out of her shell. She's still shy. She's still probably the quietest one on the team. But I do think that, she really deserves the prize for just really coming out of her shell. Just really, rising from the ashes. I think that prize should go to Hannah. She's really pulled it out. And so of these final dances, my favorite one, and apparently the judges' favorite one too, was Flower Child. Presley got first place. I wouldn't have guessed that either. Like, I loved the dance. I thought it was cool. I thought it was beautiful. But there are so many dances that we've seen this season that when it comes to the solos, I'm like, oh, they killed it. That was a beautiful dance. And then they get, 9th, 7th, 5th place, 4th place, 3rd place. It's like, I would love for the judges to show us their scorecard at the end of these episodes. You guys wouldn't be interested by that? Maybe just me? I want to see the scorecard. I don't understand why a dance that looks to me as lovely and as pretty and as technical as Flower Child, other dances have scored lower. Be that as it may, I'm happy that Presley got first. Good for her. So Abby made the right decision, making Presley like official team member. That's great. And then, of course, with Brady's number, the moms have an issue with the fact that they don't think that he was actually blindfolded. Again, this is one of those things that I'm like, who cares? Whether he was blindfolded or not, like, they make, each of the kids have had to do a dance where they've carried some sort of prop or had some sort of solo where there was an obstacle of some sort, the duet dancing with the wheelchair, or there's always something in one of the solos that is a hindrance in some way. And it's just funny that Brady having a mask, okay, sure, you can see through it, but he'd still probably preferred not to have worn it. So it just seemed like a little, really, that's where your issue lies, Ashley? Okay, fair enough. And then the group number, the Rise from the Ashes, very, very beautiful. Everybody did such a great job. That was clearly a first place worthy dance. I enjoyed it very much, and so did the judges. So the ALDC continued their first place streak. So good for them. And, of course, we're leading up to the Nationals, the final episode. Here we go. It's the big day, and ta-da! See, maybe I'm a little like... Thank you. Ta-da! See, the delay was actually perfect because of the fact that I feel like this finale episode was so... not anticlimactic, but just kind of like, oh my God, this big day is coming. The big day's here. Like I had to, like, 10 minutes into this episode, I was like, wait a minute, are they going to Nationals this week? It is Nationals, right? Because it just, at a certain point, it just felt like any other competition. it was the fierce competition in New York City. So I guess it's, it's pretty exciting that they are in the Big Apple. But being in Pittsburgh, these kids are used to that. I'm sure they go there for different opportunities and auditions and stuff like that. So, but the Nationals, we are at Nationals. It is the fierce dance competition in New York City. So let's talk about it. Michelle and Sarah come back. Not surprised. Not surprised. Shouldn't have left in the first place. And I say that on Michelle's side. Like I said, it was pretty silly how the moms just went insane about another studio sending her gifts and kind of courting her and whatever that was about. Even when we saw Michelle in the company of Tammy, like she was telling her, get out of the dressing room, leave me alone, stop doing this. And the mom saw that, but yet no matter what Michelle did, it wasn't good enough. So it was just like, what is happening? Why do they care so much? This is so insane. So let's talk about Pyramid for our final episode. I feel like this pyramid is very telling because this pyramid pretty much sums up the entire season, I think. So bottom of the pyramid, we have Hannah, Giannina, and Lily. Middle of the pyramid is Brady and Paris. And top of the pyramid is Presley. So, like I said, Presley's that dark horse. We weren't expecting her to come out as Abby's favorite as the season wraps up, but that is what happened. So, let's talk about the numbers. So we've got 3 solos this time, and that's really cool. I love the solos. I'm always happy to see the solos. So when there's more dances, I'm excited. I'm in it. I want to see these. So for the dances, we've got, of course, Presley has a solo, Brady has a solo, and Lily has a solo. So Lily's solo is Inside Out. It's like she's like half the inside of your body and half the outside of her body. And it ended up being a cool costume. Brady did this sort of like jazzy Sinatra number. So that seems suiting. And then Lily did this Annabelle number. And then, of course, the group number was the prom, right? Which current musical, popular musical, and the leads in the group number were Hannah and Giannina. So I feel bad that Hannah didn't get a solo, but at least she gets to be one of the leads in the group dance. And then, of course, unfortunately, Sarah didn't get to have a solo or even dance in the group number because Michelle pulled her. But glad they came back for the final episode. So let's talk about the group number. So the theme was really awesome. The 2 girls that want to go to prom together. That's what the musical is about, and they were able to actually use the music from the actual musical. And so with Hannah and Giannina being the couple, they had the cast from the actual musical come into the studio and watch them rehearse. And I felt like once we saw it actually on stage, it was a little bit confusing because of the fact that like Brady and Hannah and was it Paris or Presley? One of them was in the suit, but it was like Hannah was supposed to be a girl, but she was dressed the same as Brady. And then the other couple was supposed to be, Paris was supposed to be a boy. And so I think it was a little confusing how, when we watched the dance, I wouldn't have known which couple was supposed to be the lesbian couple, the way that the costuming worked out. I think I would have liked to have seen Hannah in a dress. Like everybody could have stayed the same. Hannah wear a dress like like Giannina had, just so that we knew that this was the lesbian couple. That would have made more sense to me. But maybe everybody else got it. Maybe I'm just a dummy. That could be. But very cool dance, very cool. I was gonna say very cool concept, but Abby didn't write the musical, so they're just paying tribute to the musical. So, but still, really great dance, and I'm glad that she, decided to go with something that, even as she said in one of the testimonials, political, more like socio-political. But I think it was really great that they did a dance like that. So for Presley's solo, she was the Annabelle, creepy Annabelle doll. I love the creepy dances. I really, really do. I think the reason, the fault in the stars of this dance was that costume, was Presley's costume. With the knickers underneath the dress, and the dress was so big and boxy. Like the dress, yeah, I get that she was supposed to be a doll and kind of, Annabelle's not a rag doll, but she's like supposed to be sort of a ratty doll. And so I get that maybe the clothes were supposed to be ill-fitting, but for the sake of a costume, it did not look good. I felt like when she was in the on stage, it looked like a karate gi, what they wear for a karate class. That's what it looked like to me, especially with that like red ribbon around the middle. It looked like she was a red belt in karate. So she's a great technical dancer, and with wearing something so baggy, you can't see how straight her legs are and stuff like that. Like I felt like the costume was very distracting. I don't know if judges take points off for that, but I do think that costume was not doing her any favors, and that's pretty ironic considering like a couple weeks ago, her mom switched out her costume because she didn't like it. That the mom didn't like her costume that much, so they actually like switched out their costume, but this one was fine. So I wasn't a fan of that Annabelle dress that they chose. Presley's dance number, the Sinatra number, it was good. I'm sorry, not Presley, Brady's Sinatra number, very cool with the tie undone. I was wondering, like, is he just wearing the same outfit that he's wearing for the group dance? It could have very well been the same, like, suit, dress shirt, and slacks. So there wasn't a lot of difference there between characters for him on stage this time. But it was a very cool dance. It was fun. Maybe it could have had some other like element to it. Maybe some kind of prop or something to add a little, just something extra. It just didn't have a wow factor, or any wow factor really. And this is nationals. Like all of these solos should just be like absolute, 400%. Like we're really, hitting a controversial topic, dramatic music, crazy props and crazy, costumes, or something that's going to be, really show I think all of the solos really should have pulled out all the stops, and I don't know if Brady's did, but and then of course Lily had the Inside Out number. Gets a little yelled at in the dressing room during rehearsal because she's getting paint on the floor. I think everybody at National, tempers are high, so everybody's a little extra on edge. So it's okay, So they go ahead and they hand out. Okay. So here's a little bit more. Here's the drama. Here's the craziness. So, of course, Tammy from Studio 19, as the solos are taking place, coming up to Abby and saying, "You're the one that preaches etiquette. Put your phone away." Okay. This is where I'm talking about, like, things get a little contrived. A person really has to be unhinged to have an issue with somebody, like, at these competitions, like, I'm sure lots of people are on their phone. Literally every single time the camera cuts to Abby, all season long in any of these competitions, half the time she's on her phone doing something. Like, it's so just par for the course. It's so normal. And for that to be the thing that this Tammy person comes up and has issue with, and the fact that Abby's expression was hilarious. The what? Like, she couldn't even believe that this was said. But then the running outside, and of course, total Abby style. Our Abby's back. What does she do? She goes and files a police report. I would have loved for the cameras to have been in the precinct when Abby files that report, because I would have loved to see Abby, at the desk there going, okay, here's the problem. A woman verbally assaulted me. Oh, yes? Okay. What did she say? She told me to put my phone away. What? What? In New York City, in Manhattan, the things that the police need to deal with in Manhattan. Great. Lady, as soon as we solve all the murders, we'll get to the woman who told you to put your phone away. As soon as we solve all the drug trafficking and the murders, we'll get to the thefts and the car thefts and everything else. We'll get to the lady who told you to put your phone away. I bet whatever the police officer said back to Abby when she filed a complaint at somebody for telling her to put her phone away would have probably been far more of a verbal assault than actually took place with Tammy saying that to her. This is an opportunity where I would have loved to have known, like the reality of that situation. So what was really happening with Tammy behind the scenes there, that's the thing. Get a little bit more raw, because I'm not buying that kind of stuff. So Abby's not there. She's not there for the solos, and the poor kids have to do their solos with their dance teacher not there. I don't like how, as they're going through the thing where they're trying to look for Abby, the producers are like looking for Abby, and they're out on the street, and they keep cutting back to Brady's dance while they're looking for Abby. I felt that was unfair to Brady. Because we never see a dance. The thing I love about Dance Moms, as opposed to some other dance competition shows, is Dance Moms shows the full out dance. A lot of I do the after show for Bring It, and one thing I always say about that show is they just show such short little snippets of the dance, and they cut away so much that like you don't really get to see the dance. And the thing that Dance Moms does really well is that we see the full dance. And the way that they were cutting away from Brady's dance looking for Abby, I thought that was unfair to him, especially at Nationals. This is what the entire season has been leading up to, and we don't get to see Brady's full dance. So I felt that was a little unfair. So that as they hand out the awards in the end, of course, so Brady gets 9th. Really? That's so incredible. See, again, I'm just so flabbergasted at the fact that the judges are giving these solos such low scores. Where is that coming from? If anybody happens to have a clue, shout it out to me. Lily gets 4th place, and Presley doesn't even place, and but the group number gets 1st. They did it. They won. They're excited. They won the season. This team is really killing it with the 1st place wins in the group numbers. So there we have it. We wrapped up the season, and let's move on a little bit to we'll talk about some news as we wrapped up the season. Tap, 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 tap. So yeah, that's our season, and thank you for staying with us. So let's talk about what is going to be going on a little bit while the show's on hiatus now. So I thought it was very exciting this week that JoJo was in Time magazine. JoJo got a write-up in Time magazine. I thought that was super cool. If you haven't read the article, check it out. It's kind of all about how JoJo, at age 16, is sort of embracing her brand, how she's had, meetings with publicists who are trying to, figure out where JoJo should go in her career as far as continuing to tour or should she, release new albums and things like that. And when she goes into these meetings, she's got her like star over her eye and her giant bow, and the executives are like, hey, just for the sake of a meeting, you don't need to come all decked out like that. And JoJo's like, but I'm JoJo, this is what I do. And it was all about be yourself. They called her out on being obnoxious and loud. But if you ever need a boost of confidence, be a JoJo. Be the JoJo you want to see in the world. Keep going strong, JoJo. I'm pulling for you. It's funny how, everybody always seems to. She gets so much hate in the comments. People are just cruel to her because she's lacks maturity and things like that, and the way that her style of talking and stuff like that. But I'm really pulling for her. She's got a very exciting career ahead of her, and I thought it was a very cool article to be written up about her. Another thing going on is if you are in the Pittsburgh area, I wish I was, because Gianna is doing a master class. I think that's so cool. Again, I've always said I wish Gia was the choreographer, had more of we saw a little bit more of her. All these years with Gia being the choreographer, I would love to see a little bit more of her, see her be a part of the testimonials. Let's build that character up a little bit more. But I think that's very exciting. And if I were on the East Coast, I would try to go to Gianna's masterclass. So you guys, that's what we've got here. Thank you so much for tuning into the Dance Moms season 8 for the duration of this this whole season. It's been a lot of ups and downs, and we've had we had Tony come in and host a couple of the episodes with me, and Brianna stepping in. So I'm glad you guys were able to stick with us, and thank you Sarcastically Sardonic for commenting on our YouTube videos. For those of you out there, please feel free to follow me, Hey Tamra, on YouTube, and Hey Tamra on Instagram. And also check out my comedy dance team. It's called Liquid Feet. Find us on YouTube, Liquid Feet. When Gia Nina was our guest, she gave us a little feedback on that. So, keep sticking with us here at AfterBuzz. Check us out on iTunes, YouTube, and always be sure to like and comment, and we will see you next season, guys. Thank you.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.